Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon and Tony. Jeff Francoeur's team convinced him that one of his teammates was deaf.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Big deal. I've got everyone around here believing I'm actually bald.
What's the reason for that?
What is the reason?
You are.
Really?
Yes.
I've got you believing
I'm
actually bald.
Yes. Yeah.
Deaf.
Not most deaf.
No.
Actually deaf.
There is a film of this
Yeah.
that everyone, this is must see. You got to see the film of this. We'll get to this later in the show. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. We will get to Bubba Watson winning another Masters and Michael Phelps apparently returning for another Olympics in a moment. But we begin today with the rather lukewarm battle for the #1 seed in the East. Miami needs to win its game tonight at Washington to keep its hope for the #1 seed alive. Yet there are reports that neither LeBron James nor Chris Bosh will play. And despite winning yesterday over Oklahoma City, the Indiana Pacers have publicly said they don't care about the #1 seed. Wilbon, does home court advantage mean this little?
It's like hot potato. No, you take it. No, you take it. You know, one of the things we've been framing this discussion necessarily around Indiana lately and its record of like 15-14 since the All-Star break and, like 4-8 over the last 12. But, it really makes me wonder what the heck is going on with the Miami Heat. That Indiana's played this poorly and Miami can't get the #1 seed. I will say this, Tony, about home court. Maybe it's more important to avoid what could be, what looks like the Bulls-Nets winner. Because that's where the two hot teams in the East are. And by finishing first, it looks like you're going to get the winner of the 4-5, which looks like they're going to get the Bulls-Nets winner. And maybe they don't. Maybe they'd rather not have that.
I don't really understand this. Well, look, Miami and Indiana can't be ducking anybody in the East because they're much better on paper than everybody in the East.
Yes, they are.
Though their results haven't been good lately. I heard Paul George say Indiana doesn't care about the #1 seed. I heard LeBron say we don't care at all about the #1 seed.
You don't believe Indiana, do you?
Now,
they stake their whole season, the theme of their season was to be #1.
I believe that this means you have to go to somebody else's court and win. Miami can do that because Miami's done that.
That's right.
Indiana hasn't done that. There was a very interesting thing said by Stan Van Gundy the other day when Frank Vogel benched all of his starters at Milwaukee. And Van Gundy, I believe he told Dan Le Batard this. Van Gundy said he thought Vogel did this because if they had lost with their starters at Milwaukee, they wouldn't win another game.
You know what? I just watching some of that game against Milwaukee, which the Bucks the worst team in basketball, came very close to winning. I thought the same thing. You know what? You don't want your guys out there dealing with the mental anguish that comes from losing when you're going south like this to the Milwaukee Bucks. They won that game. Of course, they went and lost in Miami. But, Tony, I watched that game against OKC yesterday, and I think they might have fixed themselves.
I am going to clearly refute that because when they beat Miami, they immediately went into a tailspin.
They did.
Another quality team. You need to wait and see what they do. They have 2 games left, 1 game, whatever it is. You need to wait and see because just beating a good team.
You're not convinced. Even OKC, which have been...
No, and I'm also, to be fair, I'm not convinced about Miami because Dwayne Wade's a part-time player.
Yeah. He's playing well when he's out there. But
you need more.
Supposedly playing down the street here in D.C. tonight. Usually, we lead with golf on the day after the Masters. But there just wasn't much drama on Final Round Sunday, Tony.
No, it was
Bubba Watson, took the lead at number 9 from young Jordan Spieth. He held it the rest of the way. Bubba cruised to his second green jacket in 3 years. He hit so many tee shots so far, 360 yards on the par 5 13th, that folks have started to call it Bubba Golf. Spieth at 20 would have been the youngest to ever win at Augusta, Tony. So what would have been better for golf? Bubba's second or Spieth's first?
How about Tiger's 5th or Phil's 4th?
I'll go either one of those.
We're looking at golf. Look, I understand the case for Bubba Watson. He's not a country club guy. He's a self-taught guy, and he bombs it. And he's fun to watch. The case for Spieth, to me, is more compelling in this regard. You got a taste of what it's like without Tiger and without Phil on the weekend for the first time in a very, very long time. And you had, over the last 10 years, a record low rating on Sunday over the last 10 years without those guys. So I think you need young stars. You're now looking at what we thought was the distant future, maybe the immediate future of golf, and you want a young star emerging. Bubba Watson's 35 years old.
Well, but the only way you become a young star emerging is to win.
Yeah, you got to
win majors.
Well, you're asking me what would have been better.
I'm just saying I agree with you, by the way. You're a side, which is Tiger's 5th or Phil's fourth would have been a bigger deal, despite all the people now who want to rush to judgment and proclaim, oh, it's a great young field. No, it isn't. Not for the viewer, because it was 25% or so viewership down, like on the Thursday, Friday situation, and then yesterday, the lowest viewership in 10 years. Look, people are saying, we're not thrilled. We're not finding this compelling. Spieth was great, but I told you yesterday, when you thought Spieth had it in control.
4 times.
What did I say?
You were gleeful when Spieth went down. You were.
But you know why?
Because you felt he threatened Tiger.
But, no, I didn't.
Well, you did.
He doesn't threaten Tiger. Neither does the fat kid in red. How'd he do? Where was he?
I don't know.
Where was the fat kid?
I don't know.
Okay.
Here's what they've done to that course.
They're not a threat.
They tried to Tiger-proof the course, and they righty-proof the course.
Yeah.
Lefties have won 6 of the last 12 because the course now sets up, if you got a high fade and you're a lefty like Bubba Watson does, you can dominate this course. This never happens, what I'm going to say now. It never happens that the back 9 or the second 9 on Sunday is a snore, and that's what it was.
It was.
You have older players. You got Jimenez, you got Furyk, you got Couples.
It's like
and you got Matty Kuchar, your boy, who can't win on Sunday.
It's like the NBA in 1999 and 2000 without Michael Jordan. That's what it's like without Tiger and Phil right now. It's lacking. And all the people who are out there slurping every young kid on Twitter, stop slurping. Watch
you're
what's
an
happening.
angry old man. You hate all the young ones.
And what
Get
about
off
you?
my golf course.
What about you?
Major League Baseball's nascent replay system is taking some hits internally. Red Sox manager John Farrell is a vocal critic, particularly after appearing to get hosed on calls on back-to-back days in the Yankees series. Farrell said, quote, "It's hard to have any faith in the system," unquote. Well, does Farrell have a legitimate beef?
At this point, he does. And look, there are going to be some growing pains. Every time you go through every sport, when they adopted, massive use of replay, not just situational use, but big, widespread use of replay, they're growing pains. They had this in the NFL. Some would argue they still have it.
They still have it.
College football got it right quicker than anybody, it seems to me. But they're going to have this, Tony. First of all, some of those things I don't even want to see replayed. I just don't. It's like in the last minute of the NBA game now when you could call a foul. Remember, Joey Crawford would say, "I'm giving him the ball out of bounds because you fouled him and I missed it." That was great because I know it's situational officiating, but it's effective and it's fair. Now you got to go to the replay on certain things like that. That shouldn't be replayed. The guy's
at second base.
Get that out of here.
That's not a score.
I don't want to replay that.
This becomes a philosophical question. Do you want the technology or don't? Don't you want the technology? Do you want human error? Now, I am sort of surprised, if this is true, that there's a claim that all of these replays in New York are not necessarily even as good as local television replays. And
that's amazing, isn't it?
But I've watched NFL replay for a long time, and sometimes the play is so close that you really don't know.
And that's when you shouldn't be reversing the call.
Here's the worst thing. The worst thing is you're watching a baseball game, and there's no replay at all by the umpires, and then they show you 2 angles which show you the call is wrong and you can't reverse it.
That's right.
You cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube.
No.
You have to have the system.
You have to have it, but you don't have to review that call. Like the one at second base.
So what do you want to make? Do you want to make it only calls that are scoring plays?
I think scoring plays are necessary.
More than that.
The NFL's got it right on that. But yes, there's some calls at first base sometimes that are so egregiously wrong.
The problem now is that with one challenge, people walk out there and they waste their time and they don't know, and they don't. And you challenge small things.
We've already
stupid.
Take the challenge out anyway.
Just do it in New York.
Challenges. By the way, the Yankees haven't had a call go against them yet. Oh, do it in New York, the New Yorker says.
I'm sure the Mets have had all the calls go against them, which is why they're like 1 in 10,000.
49ers defensive end Aldon Smith is in the news again for another disturbing reason. This time he was arrested by Los Angeles police for becoming belligerent and uncooperative with the TSA agent in charge of screening. Allegedly, Smith made a comment indicating he had a bomb. Put this on top of 2 DUI arrests the past 27 months and 3 felony weapons charges connected to a party in his home 2 years ago where he was stabbed and 2 other folks were shot, and you have got an enormous mess. Tone, what do the Niners do now?
By the way, in that video, it's words that athletes may not like, TMZ Sports. Just thought I'd point that out. What do the Niners do now? They wait for the league to do something because they like Aldon Smith. They don't want to suspend Aldon Smith. And the litany of what you just read out there, DUIs and weapons charges. And look, this is a showstopper. I don't know exactly what he said, but if he indicated that he had a bomb around him, The place where the most
LAX.
heightened sense of paranoia
LAX.
in the country is at an airport.
Yeah.
You cannot do that.
At LAX of all airports.
You cannot do it.
No, you can't do it. It's inexcusable. The league's going to have to get involved. I don't want to hear they're waiting on the Niners. No. Your boy, Roger Goodell, he likes to
that
flex.
was my boy.
He's always been your boy, not my boy.
Yeah.
He's always liked to flex. Flex when it matters. Flex when, talk about the image of your
Should have flexed
league.
on Jimmy Irsay, but Jimmy Irsay took himself out of play.
But then you don't get to take yourself out of play. And so basically Roger Goodell's running scurred whenever it matters.
No, you
whenever
can't have
something's big, he's hiding under the desk. You can't hide under the desk on this guy.
And Alden Smith needs counseling. Come on, this is too many things in too short a time. Now, again, I want to know exactly what he said, because if he said something like, what do you think, I have a bomb? That would be different than, hey, I've got a bomb.
But you know what? We know Alden Smith can't get much of the benefit of the doubt. He's already been to rehab once.
No, he can't.
I mean, he's in trouble repeatedly.
We are talking, it is now April. We're not playing football. Sit him down. He needs a timeout. Michael Phelps, apparently coming out of retirement.
No.
Hello, I believe I had this.
Yeah, you had it.
Phelps is going to resume swimming competitively next week. This is clearly a precursor to swimming in the 2016 Olympics. Wilbon, what does this decision say to you?
That when you're the greatest ever at something, you don't want to give it up. Whether it's, Muhammad Ali and you're coming back and back and back again.
So it doesn't say money grab to you?
Whether it's Michael Jordan, you can always associate. Nobody's doing this stuff for free.
I think it's
You're not doing this show for free?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so.
But I'm also not retiring.
Well, but you might, and you've announced a retirement at least once, that I can recall.
What am I, Sugar Ray Leonard? No, I haven't.
Speaking of, I mean, when you are so good at something, you don't want to walk away from it. And yes, people are going to throw money at you.
He is born to swim. He is built to swim.
I was wrong.
He's the greatest swimmer
I was
ever.
Wrong. I was convinced.
What's his next career?
Sitting and listening to Michael Phelps like this.
Are you nuts?
In London. Clearly I was nuts. I believed him when he said, this is enough. I don't want to do this anymore. I bought it. I drank the Kool-Aid. I was an idiot.
This is 4 more years of Subway commercials.
Yeah.
If he makes the Olympic team, he doesn't even have to be great. He doesn't have to be great because he'll be the face of it again because he's the greatest swimmer of all time.
Let's spin it forward. Can he win?
I don't know.
I mean, the real goal. Not those swimming goal where you do 9 relays. Not that. Can he win the big event?
He's the greatest swimmer of all time, and he's never really given it up.
31. He'll be 31 in Brazil.
There are swimmers who are that old that win. He can win. Who are the next great swimmers? He can be at a relay and he can win.
Well,
He can be the face of
wait. Relays, seriously. Michael Phelps ain't doing this to win relays.
Michael
Phelps does this so he can beat back guys like Ryan Lochte who walk out there and talk
Ryan Lochte is not going to be in the Olympics.
No, he's busy being the Bachelor.
He's going to try for the Olympics. You know what? The Olympics are different than when you were a boy, okay? People don't retire at 17. They keep doing it and doing it and doing it because there's a lot of money to be made.
I know.
Ancillary money and commercial endorsements. And that's what this is about. Plus, he's a great swimmer.
You wouldn't want, college athletes to get any of that money if they could trade on their name, would you?
And that would be fine, too. In the Olympics, all of this will be fine. And he's going to, if he can swim, he's going to swim.
How many medals? Right now, gold, come on.
2.
2, I like that.
Let's take a break. Coming up, would you rather see the Grizzlies or Suns claim the NBA's final playoff spot?
And how did Jeff Francoeur's team convince him that one of his teammates was deaf? That's Suns game tonight. Suns Grizzlies. I'm all over that. It's a ball night.
You know what? Thank God you're all over that. Because I'm not. It is time for Mr. Beefcake and Man Candy to respond to your emails up top.
Beefcake's a better sounding name. I think I'll do that.
Real time?
Okay, but all the kids think you're Man Candy.
Yeah.
Who would you rather see get the number 8 seed in the West, Grizzlies or Suns?
Well, look, you know I'm biased here. I root for the Suns.
Do you?
Yes, I root for the Suns.
And the Bulls.
And I want to see the Suns win this game, but they can win tonight at home and it still not matter because Memphis, even by losing in Phoenix tonight, could come back and win at home against Dallas in the season finale. Memphis will get the 8 seed. They're both good stories, but the Suns give a freshness. This is a team that all the losers out there who kept talking about tanking kept pointing to at the beginning of the season. They're going to tank. They're going to tank.
You're going to give the owner some
They're
credit?
going to win like 49 against Robert Sarver. Okay, I'm going to give him some credit. Yes. Okay. They can win 49 games and not get in. I want to see the Suns win and get in.
Yeah,
Jeff Hornacek's probably coach of the year.
Suns should get some credit, as should the Bobcats. Big improvement.
Yes.
I'm an East Coast guy, so I don't really care about the West, but I think the West is loaded. I think the Grizzlies should get in. They're a veteran playoff team.
They are.
I think the Grizzlies, I think the Mavericks, I think Golden State, I think they could all win first-round series.
But
they all could.
can somebody beat San Antonio?
They all could. They all could.
Wow, you're almost going out on a limb there, Mr. East Coast. Is baseball doing the right thing by letting Michael Pineda slide?
Baseball has no definitive proof of what Pineda had on his wrist. No, they don't. They have no definitive proof because they never examined it. He says it's dirt. That is ridiculous. It's not the consistency of dirt. No, it's not the look of dirt.
It's not
but do you know why the Red Sox didn't point this out to the umpires?
Because they were guilty themselves.
That's exactly right. So this is what we have now, that everybody can use what they want and nobody's going to complain.
Fine tar, baby.
But they don't have proof. They didn't go examine it.
You know what somebody should do? They should, like, go to Lester Hayes' house.
Stick 'em.
And stick 'em. And just, you want to grip. And you can have, like, a Bugs Bunny situation where you throw and the ball does not come out of your hand. You can wind up again and fool the batter. You know what it is.
Do you think he should be suspended?
No, he shouldn't be suspended.
You have to touch that. You have to ascertain that it's illegal.
You can't do anything about it. But it's sort of comical. People talk about cheating in baseball. I used to say, cheating, baseball loves cheating, and you laughed at me. Baseball loves cheating.
No, I just laughed at you. Okay. With Manny Pacquiao's win, is the appetite for a Pacquiao-Mayweather super fight renewed?
No. That ship sailed. It's gone. 5, 7, 8 years ago, maybe even 4 years ago, you wanted to see the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. But no. And Pacquiao, there was more thought about him retiring going into this fight than there was about having some sort of super fight. There's no more super fight to be had for Pacquiao with Mayweather.
Pacquiao is 35 years old and clearly past his prime. Mayweather is 37. If you said there's going to be a fight, I would watch and you would watch. Yeah. But we're not going to get the fight we wanted to get a few years back. And you know what you're going to get? One of the most disappointing.
Old dudes pawing at each other.
When I saw Ali and Holmes, that was one of the most disappointing fights I had ever seen. And I would have that sadness that Pacquiao and Mayweather would be bad.
Because that Holmes-Ali fight was 8 years too late.
Bad.
You know, you have these fights when you have them. It's sad.
Last one.
Mayweather ducked him for so long. Probably could have beat him, too. Still ducked him. The weeks-long prank Jeff Francoeur's teammates played on him. Funny or cruel?
This is an amazing thing. Francoeur is in the minors now in El Paso, but he was a 10-year guy in the majors, so you think he'd be very savvy.
Up there.
They did this for weeks. They convinced Jeff Francoeur that one of the pitchers was deaf, and they filmed all of this. The intricacy in this is amazing. It is hysterical that they did this, though Francoeur looks like an idiot. But it's funny.
He looks bad, although he had such a good demeanor about it.
Yes, he did.
When he was punked, finally.
Yes.
And he realized
and everybody was in on it.
All said they called him an idiot.
Wives were in on this.
Yes.
Waitresses, wives.
You know what this says? And we covered baseball in a different time and place. This is what baseball clubhouses were all about. Pranks.
Yes.
Pranks.
Yes.
And people would do sometimes vile things.
Go see the film, people.
Vile
things. See the
things.
film.
Do I need to say Guerrero? Do I need to say Pedro Guerrero to you?
Don't go there.
What does Sorta say?
Time for a break. But on the way, a big punch takes down one of Wilbon's least favorite NHL players.
Boom!
Sorta.
Chad Johnson's tryout and Josh Gordon's beat with Kyrie Irving. Tommy Lasorda and Vlad Guerrero. Not Vlad Guerrero, Pedro Guerrero.
Yeah.
These were pranks. These were epic pranks.
Don't bring a cake. Yeah, you can send one of those. Happy time, people. Happy 23rd birthday, Josh Gordon. Surprisingly, Gordon led the NFL in receiving yardage last year. The first time ever that a Browns receiver has done that. Now, Gordon, who's pals with Cavaliers guard Dion Waiters, has said publicly that the Cavs ought to get rid of either Waiters or his teammate and nemesis, Kyrie Irving, to which Irving, a bigger star than Gordon, said essentially, stay the hell out of this. Wilbon, beef in Cleveland.
Yes, and that's the only thing you want to pay attention to in Cleveland, because both those teams are dreadful. And the Cavaliers certainly should have been better this season.
Happy anniversary, Isaiah Thomas. On this day 5 years ago, you were announced as the new head coach at FIU. Well, actually, you were literally announced as Isaiah Thompson, and that job went downhill from there. Now with Joe Dumars leaving as Pistons GM, there's going to be a lot of clamor for Isaiah Thomas to get that job, Wilbon.
There's already a lot of clamor, and Isaiah's still popular in Detroit. The Bad Boys documentary about those championship teams, 30 for 30 doc, Thursday night, 8 p.m. on the network. I hated that team, but I loved a lot of those guys individually.
Way to avoid that question. Happy trails, John Scott. Very early in the game against the Islanders yesterday, the 6'7" Sabres goon happily agreed to fight 5'10" Justin Johnson. Clearly, Johnson had the leverage, as he was able to left hook John Scott onto his can. Wilbon, big tree fall hard.
Looks like he's laughing. Rob Marinelli would have loved it. You know why?
Get low.
'Cause he got low.
Get low.
Came up out of that crouch. Like Joe Frazier with the left hook.
What do we mess up?
Josh Gordon's birthday was yesterday, so we should be clear on that. New York on New York crime tone. The Mets are 5-7. They're not 1 in a million. That's the team of your almost youth, your mid-youth.
I love the Mets.
Sure you do.
Love the Mets. You ready for the big finish?
Let's do it.
The 10-2 Brewers, off to their best start since 1987. Is that a big deal?
It's too early. They've won 9 straight. They've outscored opponents by a bunch, but it's early. Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, is going to work out for the Montreal Alouettes tomorrow. Good fit?
No, he's a Pro Bowl. No, he's a Pro Bowl. No, it's not a good fit. And you know it, and he knows it. Adrian Wojnarowski reports that Arizona's Aaron Gordon will enter the NBA draft. Is that a good decision?
You know me, Tony. I'd like to see all these guys who are freshmen be back in college next year, not the NBA. Barry Trotz out as the Preds coach. How are you going to remember him?
I'll probably remember him vaguely. I was amazed to find out he's been the coach there for 15 years. Last one, the Bucks can clinch the worst record in the NBA with a loss tonight. Will they do it?
It's a 25-point circumstance at Toronto, which needs to win to stay in the third spot. Yeah,
we're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Oh, the days for Kareem. And I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. Check out the PTI podcast on iTunes.
Michael Kornheiser, happy birthday.
PTI. These days, you can get practically anything on demand, like this podcast. Did you know you can even get postage on demand? You can with Stamps.com. No more going to the post office. No more waiting in line. Just go to Stamps.com and print all the postage you want, anytime you want. Anything you can do at the post office, you can do right from your desk with Stamps.com. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter or package using your own computer and printer. And, unlike the post office, Stamps.com never closes, so you can get postage whenever you need it. Right now, get this special offer from Stamps.com when you use promo code PTI, a no-risk trial, plus a $110 bonus offer that includes a digital scale and up to $55 free postage. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com and, before you do anything else, click on the microphone at the top of the home page and type in PTI. That's Stamps.com, promo code PTI.
The next big thing, the next new kid. The next overnight sensation. The next rookie. One to watch. The next Hall of Famer. The next Intimidator. The next 6-time. The next King. Next. Who's next? Let's find out. Names are made here. The History 300 at Charlotte. Saturday at 2:30 Eastern on ABC.